further ado, I would like you now to start clapping real small. Come on, let's get on with this. Please, welcome to the stage, Mr. Sean Patrick. Come on!
Good evening, Oxford. Let me hear you say yeah.
Yeah!
Right. What I've done, I've come on. You've never seen me before, you don't know who I am. And I've asked you to do something a little bit silly, a little bit embarrassing. I've asked you to trust me. And some of you refused. But that's okay, because the rest of you said, all right, Sean, I don't know where you're going with this. Take me with you. Share the magic. You allowed yourselves to be convinced. Which is exactly the same technique that Hitler used to persuade ordinary people to betray their friends and neighbours for no greater crime than being a Jew, a communist or a homosexual. So those of you who didn't cheer, watch your backs. Have we got any clinically obese Chinese Geordies in tonight? Never get to use that material. Newcastle, of course, home to an enormous Chinese community. In fact, apart from Smith, the second most common surname in the city is the Cantonese name Yi, which is spelled Y-I. My gift to you. Take it home, tell your kids. I don't know if there's any students in Nigel or locals. Anyone in from Kent? Good, no need to worry about curfews. I can get away with material like that. I grew up in Kent, so it was quite a posh part of Kent. There was only one child in my primary school with a tattoo on his face. Although private school, so maybe not representative. But the only problem with living in an up-and-coming area like that, you do get very nosy neighbours. So I was down visiting my mum last bonfire night. It wasn't really bonfire night, it caught someone using chopsticks. They were going to burn him for witchcraft. It sounds harsh, but you have been warned. And a neighbour came round and he said to my mum, excuse me, don't mean to pry, couldn't help noticing there was a sort of tubby traveller fellow poking around in your garden this morning. Do you know about that, do you? And my mum said, yeah, that's my big fat gypsy weeding. Another gift. When I was thinking what to talk about tonight, I thought I'm going to tell them about the most interesting thing about me. And the most interesting thing about me is that I'm a fluent French speaker. And that genuinely is the most interesting thing about me, which is one of the reasons I'm here doing this. I'm not a native French speaker. I learned it at school and then at university. At this university, in fact, so 20 years ago I left here, a scholar, 2-1, off to a successful research career, and look at me now. So when I say I learned it, I mean what I actually learned was to put French words in a grammatically correct order, because in order to really speak French fluently, you have to go and live in France and really get inside the head of a French person, and frankly that's the sort of sacrifice very few people are willing to make. And some people say to me, they say, what's the point? Why bother learning French to that level? Yeah? Pourquoi, Sean? Pourquoi? And I say to them, there's two reasons. The first reason, if there's one nationality that cannot be fucking bothered to learn to speak English properly, it is the French. I mean, scenario for you, you're on holiday, somewhere like Spain, yeah? You haven't learned the language, why would you? And you're feeling thirsty, so you sit down at a table, at a pavement cafe, and decide to order a drink in the international language. Yeah? 2 beers. The waiter's already gone. He's already gone. He's coming back. He's all smiles. 2 beers on the tray. You've got some notes, senor, senora, lo siento, señorita. You've got your 2 beers. Lo siento, that's Spanish, means I'm sorry, I've made a mistake. Yeah. Try that in France, see where it gets you. 2 beers. Come on. 2 beers. 2 beers. Qu'est-ce qu'il dit là? Tu comprends quelque chose? There's no one there. He would rather speak to his imaginary friend than bring you the 2 beers which are rightfully yours. And as for French, for I'm sorry, I've made a mistake, don't worry about that, doesn't exist. The other reason for learning French is the skirt likes it, don't they? I mean, let's be honest. The ladies like it because what French does, it makes ordinary things sound more exotic. Yeah? So for a start, you'll remember this from school, all French words have a gender, either masculine or feminine. So, les cheveux, that's your hair, yeah? That's actually masculine. Yeah? La moustache, of course, feminine in France. So really quite ordinary words, suddenly sound more exciting and exotic. So I'll give you an example. Burlesque, yeah? Sounds very exciting, evocative, a bit tales the unexpected. Basically, fat strippers. Or imagine I'm an estate agent. Yeah? And any estate agents in?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know you guys were allowed out. So I've done a lot of bad things in my life, but that one's a yet for me. I'm showing you around a property. I'm showing you around a flat. Do I say to you, this property boasts a bidet? Or do I say, see that sink over there? Wash your arse in that. Which one of those is really going to sell you the dream and help fund my £200 a week top man habit? Or same scenario. I'm showing you around a flat. Do I say just next door to a pub full of wankers? Or handily adjacent to the bistro? You seem a learned audience, so I'm going to educate you. Bistro is a very interesting word because it sounds very French. Bistro. It's actually a Russian word. And the story goes that when Napoleon was in Moscow, his officers would go out on the town, and to try and get quick service, they would shout, bistro, 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 which was their clumsy attempt at the Russian word bystro, meaning quickly or hurry up. Which just goes to show that from the very first time it was used, 200 years ago, and a whole continent away, it already meant pub full of wankers. And we've also got Napoleon to thank for the baguette. Because again, you'll know this. Baguette, it means little ring, doesn't it? It's a little round loaf. And Napoleon said, no, no, no. He said, straighten that out. The men can put that down their trouser legs while they're marching. Free up a bit of room in the knapsack. And this, of course, is where the French's reputation for being great lovers come from. He isn't actually that pleased to see you, and that really is a bread roll in his pocket. My name's Sean Patrick. Thank you for having me. Good night.
Give it up for Sean Patrick! Come on! Thank you. Let's keep it moving along. I'm going to get our next act up right away. More of them, less of me. So please.